And the man that comes in is Paul Le Guen. When do you first hear his name?
Well, there was rumours they were talking about getting him, and I think there was a few clubs going for him at the time. So to get him over the line was a massive coup at the time.
Definitely,
Real Madrid were keen on him.
Definitely.
I mean, everyone was delighted.
He's a massive name in Europe. He's a massive name.
Yeah.
Lyon, done well with Lyon. Was it 3 leagues he won there? Yeah.
Won the league 3 years in the trot. Done very well. Young coach, progressive coach. Obviously, well sought after in Europe. And then, we managed to get him. So I think at the time, everyone looked at it as a huge coup and a massive appointment. So we were happy,
Mm-hmm. And there are a few players who've touched on this. Obviously, I remember the times. But what was his pre-season like? Because a lot of players have said just how tough it was.
It was tough. It was different. Definitely different. I mean, there's some pre-seasons I've had with some Scottish managers that are just outrageously tough. My first ever pre-season with Duffy, when Duffy was torture. So I sort of, after that, I was like, anyone threw at me, I thought I'd be able to handle. It was just different training, different methods. Very sort of quiet, and have to be really concentrated, and just different culture. I'd seen it, I'd had the Italians at Dundee, so I'd seen different cultures and the way they train. So I was adaptable and open to trying it and getting on with it. To be honest, as I say, I was pretty dedicated to my craft, so I was happy just to crack on with it.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, straight away, were players just excited when he came in,
Yeah, I mean, everyone, like we say, it was, and we thought it was going to be, an amazing appointment that would go on and push us to the next level, and everyone was open to it and ready to do whatever he said at that point and to try and make it happen. And as the same as you do with any manager, it's the same with any manager. You sort of have to buy into what they say and what they do and their methods, or else they'll not be there long. That's football, That's the way it is. Sometimes that's easier than others, and well, as I say, I was just ready and open-minded to see what would happen.
Mm-hmm. And when do you first interact with him, and does he tell you that he's kind of keen on you?
No, he was open with all the players, and he'd obviously know I'd been out for a while with injury, but he'd watched all the videos of the games, all the players, and again, a clean slate shout, and try and work yourself into the team and that sort of thing. So I was confident that if I'd done well enough, he'd have gave me enough of game time, if I'd done well enough.
Mm-hmm. And he brings in a lot of players for France. What did you think of the players he brought in?
I thought some of them were very good, and I thought some of them probably weren't up to par for Rangers.
Who was up? Who do you think was good?
Jeremy Clement was a very good player.
I thought he was amazing.
Very good player.
He was very
very good player. And he was just young. He was really young at that point. And I just think, wow, he plays a lot older than what he seems, He was a very good player. I liked him. Julian Rodriguez came in, I think, as well.
Right.
He was decent, but there was some came in. As I say, I didn't think maybe he's up to the level of what Rangers were. And we'd sort of discovered that over time, but. When they come in, you give them an opportunity, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And the only positive you would take for that season was the kind of run in UEFA Cup, and he makes you captain in a couple of games. How big an honour was that to be the captain in the games?
Yeah, amazing. I mean, a couple of games in pre-season, he'd made me sort of captain for us. There was a couple of boys missing. I'd take over and be the captain, which is, again, amazing, especially after being out for so long.
Yeah.
I think he liked the way I worked in terms of really professional, down the line, get my work done, get the head down, get it done, and lead by example sort of thing. Yeah. So I think that's what I liked about what I'd done. Because I certainly wouldn't have been one of the best players. I mean, we had some top players, so it was more about leading by example. So really, really happy to be involved, and obviously to be captain as well was an added bonus.
Mm-hmm. And when do you kind of get the feeling that this isn't going to work out for when's the first kind of inkling something's up?
Well, results. It's always results. It's up and down. Started well, and then up and down, and you just can't do that at Rangers. And it's a club that demands wins every week. And there was a few results that were just not good enough. And that's when
it was the St Johnstone one in the cup that always sticks out to me. Like, that was the first time we heard something was up. Something like this wasn't going to work out. That was the first one I remember. Did you play in that game?
Yeah, I can remember that game. I played that game. He totally changed the team. It was a lot of changes. And I think that's maybe what he didn't realise, the magnitude of every game at Rangers. I think he was quite happy to play anyone in the game. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. Sort of, who cares, sort of thing. We move on, sort of thing. And you just can't have that mentality at Rangers because of the club and what it demands of you. So I think that and the Inverness result up in Inverness, where he was, we were all fired up after the game. Barry especially, devastated with the result and the performance, but he was like, quite, no, it's okay, relax, it's fine. And we were like, well, it's not really, we've had too many of these up and down ones, and just little things like that. It was becoming pretty obvious that it was going to be tough. Yeah,
and see that Inverness game you touched on, like, obviously you were on the bench and didn't come on, is that right? Yeah.
Correct.
So when at the end of that game, I think it was 2, they scored in the last minute, didn't they? Inverness was 2-1. Yeah. And when you get into the dressing room, and that, obviously the thing with Barry is well known what happens, but do you think that when he says that, there's going to be what happens after that? Or was it just, did Barry just let rip, or did you think there was something?
Barry was just frustrated. Barry was a typical player that had passion for his team, that was really frustrated about how things were going, and we all were, but as Baz was captain, he should have the authority to be able to say that and to articulate that to the group.
Yeah.
But that's a different culture and a different mentality to what maybe Paul Le Guen had, and how they deal with players.
Yeah.
And that's that's the disconnect, and that's where maybe a couple of issues came from. But for us as players growing up in Scotland, there was nothing new for us. We were more than used to it and agreed with it. There's a time to have a pop, there's a time to have a pop, for sure.
And did you think that at the end of that there was going to be an aftermath of obviously Barry getting dropped for the captaincy? And did you think that was going to happen, or were you stunned when that happened?
Oh, well, we certainly wouldn't have. We didn't think it was going to be as severe as that. I don't think. No way. I think Paul Le Guen was very, it's my way or that's it.
Yeah.
So you probably think, well, there might be something come of it. We definitely didn't think it would be as what it was, but it wouldn't have surprised us if something came of it, because that's the type of person he was.
Yeah. And from that game on to the Motherwell game, like, just when do you first hear that Barry's been dropped as captain and you're going to be the new captain? Just talk us through that kind of period.
It would have been after training that day, the day before the Motherwell game. So it had been after training, and then I think Barry had been taken in and told, and then sort of let the rest of the boys know, and were stunned. And then I got called in, and then he said, "Oh, listen, I've told Barry he's not captain, and now you're captain." And I was like, right, okay. I was just thinking, okay. I hadn't been playing, so I hadn't been playing regular. So very strange choice, strange situation. Horrible be in the middle of.
Mm-hmm.
Proud to be captain, of course, but just a very, very strange situation.
And was a bit of kind of problems with the dressing room? Like, with you, like, did you kind of feel that you were putting the firing line? And was it a bit of kind of dressing room uneasy towards you because of the position you were put in? Nothing.
Not in the slightest. None towards me. Nah. Because what you may do, if your manager does something and then makes you captain, I can do about it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to, try and do my best in that role, but it's nothing. I didn't say make me captain. You know what I mean? It's the manager's made that decision. So the players were fine. Barry was fine. I spoke to Barry about it. He was totally fine. He says, obviously, I know it's not to do with you. It's just what it is. Just try to do your best, sort of thing. So, but yeah, really, really strange time. really sort of nervy time. And, you know, I didn't really get nervous before many games, but that Motherwell game, that's one of the worst in terms of nerves. Just because I knew I was going to come into the team because I was captain. I hadn't been playing. I knew there was going to be absolute outrage and uproar because of Fergie and what had happened with Guen.
Yeah.
So, like, all that stuff, like, coupled into going in and, you know, try to concentrate on doing well in the game when I hadn't played for so long was really, I was nerve-wracking the night before and the day of the game, and delighted to just get the win. But I'd have been like the same as thousands of Rangers fans, like thinking, oh, why did he make him captain? Because I hadn't been playing. And I totally understand. I would take that point, of course. So, as I say, just a very, very sort of weird situation.
Yeah, and just a wee thing I want to touch on, like when Boyd scores the penalty, you're standing right behind him, and you go. It obviously does the six gesture to the fans, and you say something to him. I've watched it back many times this week and tried to work out what you say, and I can't lip read it. Do you remember what you said to him when he done that thing?
No idea what I said to him. It's probably thank God you scored the penalty, because all I was concentrating on that game was just getting the win.
Yeah.
If we hadn't won that day, it would have been so much worse. So it was, I was just concentrating on getting the win. So I don't know what he said. I don't know what I said to him. No idea.
And were the players, like obviously it did come out a bit of a kind of one side or the other, but when you look back in that, do you think a lot of players took Barry's side? And like,
as opposed to Guen?
Yeah,
for sure, yeah, and quite rightly.
But do you think, like, obviously we know, like, I think is it the next day? Because I remember where I was when I heard the
Guen was the next day, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Along, yeah.
But he didn't say anything to you about. He didn't explain to you why you were put in that position or anything like that. Like,
nah, and this is the biggest issue I've got about it, because if he'd called me after before he left and just says, "Listen, sorry for putting you in that situation. Like, I didn't mean it to work out like that. Wish you all the best," and then I'd have been fine. You know what?
Yeah,
no problem, no problem. But he left. Never heard from him again. So I've basically had to take all that crap for like the 24 hours 24 hours after, in the middle of a storm, and then he just left. And I was thinking, that's a bit rough, you know. That's a bit harsh. Sort of hung me out to dry.
Do you think he did hang? Definitely hung you out to dry. But I think that the respect. Obviously, you'd have a bit of respect for him as a manager, but does that just go out the window when he does that to you?
100%.